Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hollywood Joe from Hollywood's World of Sports. Coming to you this morning or this afternoon, wherever you may be. I wanted to give you some of my thoughts regarding last night's Royal Rumble. I did my review on the blog, but I have read so much stuff in the last, 12, 15 hours about what went down and how things transpired. And let me start by saying that a lot of fans out there have a lot of great points, but then others don't see the big picture. And I'm going to try and cover everything in a short amount of time, so I'm not wasting a good portion of your day. Last night, Daniel Bryan entered number 10 and maybe was in the Rumble for a good 10 minutes. And as soon as he got eliminated, the crowd went dead and booed everybody that came afterwards. Now, I don't have a problem with the fact that Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble. Do I think he should have? Yes. But I do not have a problem with him not winning it. What I do have a problem with is how they booked and made guys like Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, and a couple other guys that are, loved by the fans, how they made them look so weak, in the Rumble match. The overall Rumble match was booked so horribly, so terribly. I mean, that had to have been one of the most boring, lamest Royal Rumble matches I've ever seen. There was two things that got me excited: Diamond Dallas Page and Bubba Ray Dudley. And I'm gonna give you a scenario about how you should please the fans. Last night, the best match of the night was the pre-show: Cesaro and Tyson Kidd versus the New Day. And the Philly fans are diehards. They're crazy about anything, pro wrestling, sports, whatever. But I can tell you this much: the majority of fans watching today's product want good wrestling. They want to see a great wrestling match. They don't want people shoved down our throat like a John Cena, like a Roman Reigns, like a Randy Orton. All these guys that have gotten mega pushes. To me, the mega pushes need to stop. I will say that. Back then in the Attitude Era, and I know people want to say, well, if this was, or what have you, the attitude thing needs to stop. The only thing that I wish would come back from the attitude is that Vince let the people decide who's going to be popular and who's not. Look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do you think for one moment, if Vince McMahon would have went against the fans and did to Stone Cold what he's doing to Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler or Dean Ambrose, do you really think WWE would still be in business? I don't think so. Not a bloody chance in hell. Okay? I have no problem with Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble next year. Okay? Or it should have been last year, to be honest with you. This is not the year. And I'm going to play devil's advocate on both sides. Well, one side that says, Daniel Bryan won it last year, yada, yada, yada. He doesn't need to win everything. That may be true. But my counterpoint to that is Daniel Bryan really never got a fair title run. Never got a fair title run because of his injury. So people were wanting to see him come back from injury and win the title. That part I understand. Now, the other suggestion was, well, Daniel Bryan just came back from an 8-month injury. why would you put him in the ring with Brock Lesnar, who does not care about who he hurts or how he manhandles his opponents? I mean, you saw that with the Seth Rollins suplexes. I thought Seth broke his shoulder or broke his neck a couple times in that match. But here's how you solve that problem. If you want Daniel Bryan in the main event, but you don't want him to get hurt, you put the title on Seth Rollins, which should have happened last night. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match, because it's going to be like Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg from WrestleMania 20, which got booed out of the building. I want to see a classic, fast-paced, technical wrestling match between Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan. To me, that would have been the fans' match for WrestleMania. Now, the other thing that bothers me is people are putting all the blame on Triple H. Guess what, folks? This ain't Triple H's fault. Vince is still in charge. Vince still has the last say in what happens. And you want to know the truth about something? You should be happy with Triple H, because if Vince would have gotten his way, it'd have been The Rock versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and not Roman Reigns for the WWE title. And to me, having The Rock versus Brock would have been even more of a step backwards than Roman. So people need to take that under consideration too. Triple H is fighting for the younger guys. You can see that in how he produces NXT. And here's another thing. I want to get across to people. NXT is written by wrestlers who have been there, done that. WWE, Raw, and SmackDown is written by Hollywood writers, TV writers, who have no damn clue what the hell professional wrestling is all about. And that's Vince's doing for hiring those idiots. You know, there's a lot of guys out there that deserve pushes because of the fans. Cesaro, Kidd, Ambrose, Rollins, Ziggler. More importantly, Ziggler. If take Daniel Bryan out of the equation, Dolph Ziggler is the best overall performer in the WWE right now. And Cesaro is the best overall pure old school wrestler in the WWE right now. Tyson Kidd, the best overall workhorse in the WWE right now. And, you know, WWE needs to learn from WCW. I remember when WCW pushed all these guys who had egos and nobody wanted to see, and they pissed off their workhorses in the cruiserweight division, and the cruiserweights wound up getting pissed off and going elsewhere. Well, you know, WWE, you should really worry about that, because look at Alberto Del Rio. I think Alberto Del Rio is the smartest man in professional wrestling right now. And I'll tell you why. Because he's getting so much attention from being a Ring of Honor and being in Lucha Underground and wrestling in AAA in Mexico. He does not have an exclusive contract with anybody, which makes him even more valuable. You know, you can have guys that are going to start doing that, show up on every wrestling promotion to get mainstream attention. You know, and this is me. If I was a writer, this is how I would have booked the Royal Rumble. The final six would have been Bray Wyatt, Bad News Barrett, Bubba Ray Dudley, Cesaro, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. And I'll tell you why I suggested those. Cesaro was hot in the pre-show, and they should have taken advantage of that. You know, Roman Reigns is obviously the WWE's monster. Could have used that. Bubba Ray Dudley was the ECW original, who was still in damn good fighting shape, I might add. Bray Wyatt, Bad News Barrett are two heels that really need to get over big time and get a push. You know, and that's another problem I'm having, is that Bad News Barrett has only won one match since he's regained the Intercontinental title, which, to me, why put the title on? Stupid. Very stupid. I thought there was a lot of wasted Rumble picks, like Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil. I love the Boogeyman. I thought that was great. But why not bring up a couple of NXT guys like Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, and get some momentum going for them, like they did with Rusev last year and Bo Dallas the year before. You know, it's mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling how they cannot learn from what they did last year. And like I said, I'm not saying Daniel Bryan should have won the entire thing. I'm saying that he should have been in the final 4 to 6. I personally think Dolph Ziggler would have been the best choice, because he knows how to work, he knows how to sell, he knows how to put on a performance like nobody else. To me, he's like the next Shawn Michaels if people would just give him a freaking chance, you know. And and the other thing I want to address is the whole cancel WWE thing. Part of me thinks, you know, canceling the network, you know, it's just, it sounds retarded and stupid and people are getting carried away. But if you think about it, it's smart, because people are saying, well, if you don't like the product, don't put your money into it. Well, you know, that's their way of not putting money into it. And I really want to see numbers of how bad the drop-off was last night after the pay-per-view. Okay? However, as a fan, I'm not getting rid of the network because, you know, yeah, I don't agree with some of the decisions, but I'm going to stick it out because there's NXT. That to me is the big thing for me, is NXT. And I really hope these guys in NXT don't get crapped on, because Adam Rose has already been wasted. The Ascension hopefully is not going to waste now. I'm really afraid for Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, because they are pretty much like Daniel Bryan. And when the WWE is going to use the excuse, well, they're too small, you know. And what excuse are you going to use when Kevin Owens comes up? Are you going to say he's too small? Are you going to say that he's a B+ player, or whatever the storyline is with Daniel Bryan these days? No. There is no, like, when Kevin Owens finally makes the big time, there's going to be no excuse of why he shouldn't be a main eventer and WWE World Heavyweight Champion someday. He's a big guy that people like because he can wrestle, he knows how to work, he knows how to move, and he doesn't have this, you know, like, robotic style about him like John Cena and Roman Reigns do. And there's so many sides to this, but at the end of the day, WWE needs to pull their head out of their butt, because some promotions are starting to get some momentum, like Ring of Honor. You know, Lucha Underground's becoming really popular with certain fans. What are they going to do when Global Force, you know, Jeff Jarrett's Global Force finally hits the market, you know, and starts making moves? And what about the fact that New Japan Pro Wrestling is airing in the United States now? WWE needs to... They may not think this is competition, and honestly, it's not right now. None of it is. But there's going to come a time where one of these promotions is going to make a big move for somebody. And it's going to shake everything. Like, I don't count TNA as competition, because they're not on a, you know, good network right now with Destination America. But I will say this. WWE better start listening to their fans. and better start giving the fans what they want, because if they don't, the network's going to tank, which has already been a fear of people for a year now. People are going to stop watching. I mean, I'm going to continue to watch because I like to see how things play out, but there's a lot of fans out there that love the pure wrestling style, the good technical wrestling, the fast-paced, high-flying wrestling style, not the robotic shit. And that's what WWE is. It's robots. It's robots and puppets, in terms of John Cena and Roman Reigns, the Brock Lesnar's of the world. Randy Orton's even in that category of being a robot and a puppet. Give the fans what they want. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So with that being said, my name is Hollywood Joe from Hollywood's World of Sports, where controversy doesn't come without criticism. Make sure you go to the blog every Saturday or Sunday. I have a weekly column about my top issues in sports, but now with WrestleMania season, I'm going to be adding another column called The Road to WrestleMania 31, where I cover each week individually and how it builds up to WrestleMania 31. So please follow me at hollywoodsworldofsports.com. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, you name it, I'm on it. So tune in for all that stuff. I'm curious to hear all your guys' feedback. A lot of people are passionate and outraged about the Royal Rumble, and they should be. So let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you again, guys. Take care, and hope you have a great day. God bless.